Hi guys, welcome back to Theater Haitana. My name is Abby, and today we're gonna do the weekly chakra healing video. There's like a lot of stuff going on this week that we have to talk about. I'm gonna be using the Tarot of Santa Muerte for this week's video. Bottom of the deck is the Moon and the Eight of Swords. When I'm telling you there's a lot of stuff mentally happening this week, there's a lot of unconscious things that are going to be underplaying everything else, which is why I feel like for the most part we need to take this week our interactions with people with a grain of salt, because for some reason, I mean, Venus is in Gemini, so words are important. But for some reason, people are going to be consciously speaking a lot of traumatic behavior and kind of shedding light on some unconscious behavior. Where they might not actually be super conscious that they're doing it, but a lot of it is very toxic. So there's a lot of major arcana energy in here. But yeah, we're gonna just start off with the root chakra. For this week, the summary for the root chakra, the energy of the root chakra is the Hangman. So there is a level of needing to be illuminated by being still, and a lot of what happens this week, I recommend you reflect on at night. Reflect on when you could pause, when you could have a moment, because it just feels like there's a lot of things happening that we just need to take a moment to pull back and reflect as to why it's happening, as to why it's an issue, whatever it is happening this week that becomes an issue, whether it's like somebody behaved a weird way towards you, or something happened where you said something and you didn't mean to say that, and it just kind of gets stuck in your head. There's a need for reflection this week, in order for us to be illuminated by the things that we're already grounded in, because this is root chakra energy. So there is kind of a need to unearth some truth about our behaviors, how we react to others, and others' behavior to us as well this week. It's almost like a really weird energy, because it just feels like you got beef or something, you know? Or like there's something deeply rooted, like whether it was from your childhood that just like some sort of belief that got implanted in you from your childhood, then now you're starting to kind of see some behavioral aspects of that kind of playing out in the daylight. So there is just like a need of reflection for the root chakra in order to heal that root chakra this week, because there's some toxicity there. So reflection is key. Now for the sacral chakra, it's interesting because this is also that type of energy. You got the King of Swords in the sacral space, so there's this speaks of a lot of the time like weaponizing your words and how you're consciously mentally reacting or blocking yourself, your fertility, your growth, your abundance, how you're blocking your ability to heal with your words, whether you're blocking your money, whether you're blocking your love, whether you're blocking your healing, your whatever it is that you're trying to do. This is something that is consciously getting blocked by you, and there's kind of a level of toxicity this week that is just really, really weird, because it's just like there's a comfort in doing this. This is a cycle that has been happening for a long time. Like, this personality is very much built on this kind of behavior, but it's just like not good. So it's really deals with how your words, how your beliefs, how your mind is blocking your fertility, your growth, your ability to manifest this week, which is interesting because Venus is in Gemini. So you would think like there's some people that would use this energy in a good way, but then other people are using this energy in not the best way. So there's just like a level of duality in the toxicity. You're either using it and being able to manifest clearly, throat chakra clear, or it's actually very toxic and you're going through a period of reflection because of that toxicity, like mental reflection. Now for the solar plexus, we actually got Santa Muerte, which is really interesting, which is, every time I say which is, it sounds like witches, which is really interesting because in the solar plexus, having the card of death there speaks to having to kind of going to a transition of your ego, where you're coming out of a darker phase, a darker, like, holding on to some toxicity in the area of your ego, where you might have been building, and it might be why it looks like this, where you might have been building these thoughts and these beliefs of your ego and who you are for a really long time, but it actually now it's coming into a consciousness where you're just changing these types of behaviors. And with the death card here, it's just saying that there's a rebirth of the ego in many ways this week. If you take time to reflect, you'll be able to come out of it in a different way, where you'll be able to kind of see consciously your behavior, how you react, why you react a certain way. It's really about questioning yourself this week, and really seeing where your heart is, where your passion is, why you're doing certain things that you're doing, why you think it's okay. Why are you defending certain things? Like, what about it is it that makes you feel like you're right? And if you're wrong and you're being told that you're wrong, it's just like, wait, now it's just like a mirroring type of moment this week. So there is moments of death that happens consciously. There's a conscious death that happens this week within ourselves that will be a healing experience. For the heart chakra, we have the Knight of Wands. So there is a lot of, like, passion, and this is really interesting because currently the moon is in Aries. There's a lot of drive emotionally, and we might be seeing a lot of kind of like a push, like maybe like some people have like a little summer fling thing. Some people have a really deep connection, almost overwhelming connection with someone that it's just kind of a little bit hard to kind of process because there's a lot of fire there. There's a lot of, like, attraction. There's a lot of traveling happening as well, which is good for the heart chakra, because the heart chakra really does need to have that passionate type of energy, that light type of energy. And this also kind of speaks to your heart space, because once your head is clear and you're able to make conscious decisions, you're able to really move your willpower, that after that death comes, you're able to really move your willpower in a different way. You're able to consciously choose and be driven by something other than like toxicity or negative behaviors that we do, that we carry. So there is kind of like a spark there, a wanting to emotionally be driven differently, not just the way we've always been driven to be, but it's just a more passionate about, like, our growth, about our healing, about our mind, about what we know. Definitely that's what the bottom of the deck is, the moon and the 8 of swords. It's just like a lot of unconscious, so like subconscious behaviors, like, coming to light, and like really having to reflect on why we've been doing them. There's a lot of mental stuff going on this week. It's really interesting, but once we get that sorted, we'll feel a lot more aligned with ourselves, because the wands, the fire signs, they rule the path ultimately. That's what Aries rules. The moon is currently in Aries, and it's really about the journey. So the journey becomes a little bit more clearer when we're healing the toxicity. So it's an interesting relationship there. Now for the throat chakra, we have the Devil, which is interesting because this is Capricorn energy. We got Scorpio energy. We have a lot of different energies in here. We got Capricorn energy, and in the throat chakra, this is actually, it depends how you use this energy. For a lot, when I first saw this, I was like, some people are going to be very venomous this week. And this is coming from deep rooted, because this is root chakra. Capricorn's root chakra is in the throat chakra. There's a lot of mind in the root chakra. So it's just like a reflection of what is rooted. And there's a lot of things in, that will be said this week that are rooted in your personality, rooted in your ego, rooted in your energy, that needs to be cleared out, that has been kind of playing out throughout your life for a really long time, but it's showing up its way in a toxic way really, really heavily this week. So some people will be saying some really cruel shit to people. Some people will be kind of behaving in ways or like there's just a reflection where you might have said something that you're like, that's almost out of your character, and you just kind of catch yourself like, wait, what? And this is like in a way verbally being out of control, because Capricorns are really good with control. We are really good with boundaries. So this in the throat chakra is just like, there's either you consciously are trying to verbally cause harm, or you're unconsciously unearthing things about yourself that have been deep rooted within your ego, within your personality, that are just now just kind of like showing themselves. So this is like a very interesting energy for the throat chakra, I would say. Now for the third eye, we have the Ace of Wands. I'm not really surprised about this, because this is a really big opportunity to kind of transmute a situation, transmute an energy, transmute your personality in many ways into a more evolved one. The wands, again, they rule the journey. So this is like an opportunity for your journey. Whatever's happening this week that's causing this turmoil internally, that's asking you to change, that you're kind of like reflecting back in yourself in order to change, it's for your growth, it's for your path, is because you're really meant to kind of fix whatever comes up this week. And it's something that it's just needed for you to be. Do you see how there's just like that plant growing out of the head of the skull? It's just like that evolving. It's an evolving mental clarity, an evolving consciousness that's happening this week, which is really beautiful, which it's great as far as like healing yourself goes, because once you're conscious of your behavior, you're able to consciously change what you're doing. So this is actually a very beautiful energy for the third eye, but it's just like, when if you're really disconnected and you have these chakras blocked, it's going to be hard to see that this is actually good for you. So there's going to be some things that happen this week that seem like it's almost like the end of the world, and it's just like almost out of body experience where you're gonna have to reflect on yourself, but it's actually for your greater good. So you're just gonna have to kind of go with it. And it almost seems like, oh well, but it is for your greater good. Ultimately is for your greater good, and you're just gonna have to kind of roll with the punches this week. Now for your crown chakra, we have the Sun and we have the Magician. This is Mercury energy, which I'm not surprised about. Venus is in Gemini, but the Sun is in Cancer, which is interesting. So this in the crown, because we talked about how the Sun ruling Leo, the Sun is willpower in astrology, so it rules your ego. And with the Magician here, it's about transmutation. It's about a new road. It's about these aces that the Magician then rules. So there is an opportunity to come closer to your more stronger self. That's the Magician. That's your higher self. That's being able to wield all the aces, all the opportunities. This is one of those roads that might look really tough this week, because you have to change something about yourself. You have to, that whole thing about how people never change and all this nonsense is just a complete lie. People do change if you're consciously choosing to accept and heal and grow with the change that comes, and opportunities of those changes, for you to like take them on head on and just be like, okay, you know what, I did that doesn't sit right with my spirit, that's not who I am, I'm never going to do that again, or whatever the case may be. Whether it's how you reacted to somebody else, a lot of this I feel like it's just an internal struggle that's happening this week, but it's really for your higher good, and it's supposed to be to heal that ego energy, which ultimately goes for the solar plexus. And I feel like we spent a lot of time last year talking about healing the solar plexus, because a lot of this, when your willpower is blocked, when that solar plexus is blocked, it is really hard to do anything. Let's just be real now. It's really hard to do anything because your will is blocked by you. So it's like, if you wanted to heal like your heart, or you wanted to heal like your fertility, or you wanted to heal like your head, like you just have a lot of issues, your willpower is blocked. So you're not going to do anything about it because you are not, you're consciously choosing, and even unconsciously choosing, well, most of the time it's consciously choosing not to do anything about it. When you decide, hey, I'm going to do something about it, that's when the change happens. That's when the death energy comes in, because it's like, oh, okay, you're willing to move now. If you're not willing to move, nothing will change. You will still be blocked. But a lot of the time what happens is that we like to sulk in the misery of what the beliefs, what the truth is about ourselves or about a situation or whatever it is that we're caught up on mentally. We just choose to sulk in it instead of actually choosing to do something about it. And this is very much it's interesting because there's a lot of Aries energy today, so it's very actiony, but it's also Cancer season, so it's emotional consciousness, it's emotional movement, and a lot of it's going to be like in the fact that the only, as far as like the only water card that really came out besides the Pisces card, this is just a lot of like unconscious attitudes, subconscious attitudes, Cancer being like very much emotional consciousness. It's about healing that energy and how do you move from your emotions? How do you process your emotions? How do you heal from your emotions? If you feel something, why let your subconscious attitude or your unconscious attitude, or the things that you don't even know that you're doing, or how you're treating other people, take such a precedent in yourself and your personality and your situations? Why are you not consciously deciding to move on what you feel like? And when you do move, reflect on that. Why did you behave that way? Why did you feel like you were right? Explain it to yourself. Hold up that mirror. This is something that I do all the time, and it's funny because I think at first, when I first did this, it really surprised my girlfriend, because I just kind of I was like, oh, like there was a situation that happened, this was like months ago, and I was just like upset about something that she had said, and I was like, oh, interesting, why? And I literally just start interrogating myself. I'm just like, why did I didn't feel good? Why did that make me mad? What is the root of that? And I would just go into the process of really breaking my mind down, where I'm just like, well, why didn't I feel good? I mean, and then I'll break down the exact point of what was said that I didn't like. Why didn't I like it? How is that reflected on me? Is it because of something that happened in the past? Am I reacting emotionally to something that's old, like an old wound that I didn't even know was there? Like, why was that a trigger for me? Like, I'll start interrogating myself, and I would literally just start telling her about it. It's just so funny because I don't think she expected that. I was just like, that really made me mad. And she was like, what? And she's obviously she's trying to fix whatever, and she's like, what do you mean? Talk to me. And I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out, hold on, I didn't like it when you said this, and I'm trying to figure out why. And then it'll just kind of be like a really good mirror. It is kind of cool to do this if you trust someone to do this with somebody else, because then you're able to kind of not just take in somebody else's perspective, but you're also able to trust someone to be there for you while you're trying to process this kind of complicated thing. And this is something that I would do with my best friend all the time. Anytime that I felt like I couldn't process something because I was stuck, or like that Capricorn energy where I'm like, okay, well, this is what I feel, I would end up, but my Venus is in Aquarius, I have a lot of Aquarius energy, so I ultimately would end up like having to disconnect from myself, my own beliefs, and going to somebody else, which would be my best friend, and be like, hey, can I just run this by you? Because this is how I feel about it, but there's also something that's off, so I want to discuss it so I could find a new perspective. And he has a lot of Aquarius placements, so it's able to then hold space for me to mentally find my way through that consciously, like consciously choosing to say, hey, okay, wait, let me navigate through this. What happened? Why do I feel this way? But this is what I'm caught up on. Initially, this is what I'm caught up on. There's just levels, and it's just like really easy for me to kind of, at this point of my life, since I've done it consciously for so long, I'm able to just really, anytime something triggers me, whether emotionally or mentally, I'm just like I feel myself react, I feel my spirit react. I'm able then to be like, okay, wait, that bothered me. Why did that bother me? And I'll just start questioning myself immediately. Like I'm in a lot of ways my own therapist, even though I mean I do talk to like my girlfriend, I talk to my friends, whatever, but in many ways I'm my own therapist, because I'm able to catch myself and be like, wait, why did I feel that way? And what it does is that because I've already processed it, and we've talked about how Capricorns love to process things beforehand because we're very much a longevity type of sign, so we like to have like our minds made up about the goal early or the thing early, so when it happens we're like, oh, okay, we already know how we feel about that. Like, we like to know how we feel about it for later on. So when it comes to things like this, I'm just like, okay, well, I've already trained myself to catch myself in situations, so then when I'm in a moment where I'm triggered by something, I'm able to do this energy. I'm consciously able to be that, like, that Mercury energy where I'm just like in the moment, conscious of my subconscious behavior, my emotional, my reactions to what just happened, what was said, what was done, whatever the case may be. I'm able to be like, wait, Abby, well, why did you react that way? And I'll just, like, my Gemini moon will just then go into a conversation, and I'll be like, well, then I'll call up my sister and be like, yo, I'm mad, I'm pissed. Why are you pissed? Because this and that, and this is how I felt. And it'll just be like, well, maybe it wasn't like the way you, or whatever. And then you'll just go into dissecting it, so I can then consciously be present in my decision, how to properly react if I didn't already. So it's just about being conscious with your ego. This is really what this is. This is a ego consciousness, and training yourself to be the mirror, to hold up the mirror to yourself. And that takes a lot of willpower, because in order for you to take it's literally about taking control. That's really what it is. When you take control, when you say, okay, I'm gonna do something about that, that didn't feel good, I'm consciously doing something about it, whether it's you're gonna go see a therapist or whatever the case may be. Just understand that, and I'm not trying to say that going to a therapist or anything is a bad thing, but when you are going to a therapist, you are then giving the other person the power to reflect what it is you're saying back to you. So then they're holding the mirror for you, which is totally fine if that's what you need. But a lot of the time, you need to practice to hold that mirror up to yourself. You need to question yourself, question your behaviors, question why, how, where, why did it bother you? What is it about that moment? What is it that triggered it? Because it's lingering for a reason. There is a reason why it bothered you in the first place. So it's about emotional consciousness. It's about mental consciousness. It's about trying to take control of your life. And the way you do that is by healing that willpower and taking your ego and really putting it on the table and be like, okay, all right, ego, what happened in that moment? Why, where are you I don't know if who I am now is that person that got traumatized by that thing that happened in the past. So we're going to have to heal that. It's really about taking it into your own hands. And yes, sometimes you're going to need another person to do that. And that's totally, totally fine. I do that too. So whether you go to therapy or whatever way you choose to hold up that mirror to yourself, you really have to try. Because there's a lot of unconscious stuff going on. There's a lot of subconscious stuff going on. And it's really about bringing it to the light consciously. Literally, there's just unconscious, subconscious, consciousness. A lot of it in this reading. So it's about choosing to do it. When you just see something, you got triggered and you just kind of like still just soak in that, you can't heal it. Therefore, it stays blocked. It continues to be a trigger, and then it just adds to the previous trigger. So then, if it's something that happened to you when you were younger, when you were in high school, wherever, then you're adding what just happened currently to the past, and then the next time it happens, it's just gonna keep getting added like a sandwich, and it's just gonna be like a whole bunch of trauma that then you're gonna need to heal. And the bigger you make it, the bigger the wound. The longer it takes for you to heal, then you're going to start going into future lifetimes and stuff and past lives and stuff, because then it's just like the next you is going to have to deal with your baggage that you're leaving yourself because you're not addressing them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I'm really excited. Don't forget to check out the Patreon. There's a lot of stuff coming up for the Patreon. I'm going to wait till we have like at least 15 Patreons on there, so we could start like the workshops and we could start the different posts and everything. So definitely check it out, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.